I'm going over my top 10 personal favorite 4K Ultra HD discs of the past year. Yes, the best of the best in 2023. Now, this is just my own personal ranking list. I know yours would be completely different, so definitely leave your choices down in the comments below. Also, if you love collecting physical media and watching movies just like me, you're in the right spot. Go ahead and mega smash that like and subscribe. That way you stay entertained and up to date on all the latest physical media topics all year long. So let's get right into this list, starting from the bottom, working our way up to the top. So at the bottom here, we're going to have the Prince of Egypt 25th Anniversary Edition. I absolutely love this slipcover right here, but really focusing on the disc. That's the main criteria here. I think this movie looks absolutely outstanding, especially for being an animated title. Sometimes you don't see the 4K sharpness shine through on animated movies, but this one, I think you do. It just has something a little bit more special. And the sound. The sound is really why I had to put this on the list. The music is amazing, so memorable. I'm singing along to this whole movie, and it just sounds so crisp and clean on the 4K disc. So I had to shout out Prince of Egypt, maybe the most underrated 4K disc of the year. Nobody ever talks about this one, but I love this movie. I love the story, and it's just a good 4K disc package. So how to shout out that. Next up, we gotta have some Jaws 2 action. Okay, yes, Jaws 2. That was a terrible Jaws impersonation. I cannot do sharks, but this is the 45th anniversary here, a little bit older of a movie. And that's what I try to do with my list. I kind of shined a light on the older movies because the 4K just does something to them. It just makes them look so much more cleaner, and no exception with Jaws 2. This movie looks really nice in 4K. There's a lot of water scenes, and to me, elements always pop in 4K, so you could really tell with the ocean. It was just looking so nice and clear. And of course, just all the characters in here were great. It just felt like a very lively movie to me. And I really enjoyed this one. It's my first time watching it. Very underrated sequel here. I actually might like this better than the original. Ooh, I just said that. I don't know. This was a super fun time. I'll have to go back and watch them both again side by side. But this is just like a super slasher with a shark. So this shark tears people apart in this movie, and it's a fun time. But once again, the 4K disc is so good with the images, with the sound. It just really gets me into the movie. So was very impressed with Jaws 2 here. And the Slippy is really nice as well. All right, next up, we gotta have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I had to put a superhero movie somewhere on this list, but this movie totally deserves it. This movie just looks so good in 4K. And even though it's a very modern new movie here, and I told you I was leaning towards older movies on this list, the sound is outstanding here. It just it makes my room shake. It's just so crisp and clean, and the music here is great. I really like the soundtrack here. It's like your 90s, just kind of punk rock, grunge type of music. I just absolutely love it. I can definitely kind of rock out to this soundtrack. Even though I don't think it's as good as the first two volumes in terms of a soundtrack, it is still darn good. And just the 4K sound on here just sounds absolutely amazing. And yeah, Guardians of the Volume 3, my favorite movie of the year. And it's just a great 4K disc overall. And I do like the steelbook design here, but there's a lot of good options for different editions out there. So I had to make sure this one got on the list. Really, really like this one. All right, next up, we got to have kind of a surprise one that came out. I didn't know this was ever going to get a 4K steelbook, and that is Matilda. Look at Matilda here. This is one of my favorite movies from my childhood. Talk about good soundtracks. This movie definitely has it. The steelbook design so cool as well, but it looked very crisp and clean with the 4K sharpness on it. I mean, this movie is just kind of bright as it is with the locations and the characters, their outfits. It just kind of pops. It's just awesome. I mean, come on. You get to see that one kid just thrown through the flower field, and you see all the flowers, and they pick up the flower, right? And then the little salamander thing, or a newt, whatever it was called, right? You can see the details on there. So there's definitely some good little crisp details in this movie that I think the 4K really shined through on. And once again, it was just a surprise movie to get to a 4K steelbook. Was not expecting Matilda to happen this way, and I really enjoyed it. So very happy to put Matilda on this list. All right, next up, We gotta have, gotta have some Lionsgate love on here. We got The Mist. Yes, Stephen King's story right here. I just thought this was a great all around, just 4K packaging. I mean, you got two 4K discs in here, right? You got the colored version, you got the black and white version. With that alone, I had to put it on the list. Both versions look really, really cool. Just up to your personal taste, which ones you want to watch. But the crisp and the cleanness there, of course, with how the mist look, like I said, the elements always look great. And when you do see creature design, the creatures look really intriguing and interesting. And I just really like this movie overall. It was a first time watch, very atmospheric, had its creepy, fun, action packed moments. And once again, the disc, the 4K disc on here, just how the discs themselves look. I mean, come on, you had like all meat packing on there to fit with the grocery store aesthetic. It's just overall fantastic design. But once again, really crisp and clean 4K disc definitely shines through the mist, you could say. So, how to throw this one on there? It's just a complete package. All right, next up, we gotta have our Flashdance. Yes, this was another first time watch for me. Oh man, I just love the way the steelbook looks too, with those kind of like almost like neon, almost kind of pastel popping colors right there with the pinks and the blues and the yellows. But this movie was great in the 4K sharpness. I mean, you can see the details in people's expressions and hair and outfits. And there's a lot of kind of flashing type of moments here, especially when you get into the music and dance sequences, just all the details you can see with the 4K sharpness. The music was wonderful too. That was rocking my room as well. Oh, such a good soundtrack. Talk about, I mean, this is like a list of great soundtracks in here, but of course, we know sound is so important to the 4K disc. So, yeah, Flashdance was awesome. Really, really enjoyed this one. Just kind of gives you the old school feel. Once again, makes you want to dance, makes you want to sing, and just have a great time. Had to shout out Flashdance here. All right, next up, we're gonna have Avatar: The Way of Water. Now, the one mark against this one is this slipcover isn't so good, but there's plenty of good steelbook options out there. They even have a super new collector's edition, but I really love the way this movie looked. I mean, it looked great in theaters, of course, but it also looks great at home. There's so many different elements and environments in this movie. You know, the 4K is going to really shine through. First, when you're in the forestry scenes at the beginning, you can see all like the jungle trees. They look awesome. Of course, the Avatar characters themselves look really great, tons of great details there. And then, of course, once you get into the water environment, it's like you're swimming with these characters. You feel like you're actually there. I mean, just all the creatures in the water, just really, really good designs. The attention to detail in this movie is outstanding. With a lot of it being made in a computer, there's still so many details that was really able to get flushed out here, and the 4K disc really highlights it. And you can see why this movie took so long to come out. I'm glad James Cameron took his time with this one because it just looks so good on the 4K disc. It sounds great too. And I just have just kind of a moving experience with this one when I watch it. It's like nothing else. Just puts you in a whole bunch of different other environments. Really, really like Avatar: The Way of Water. All right, next up, ooh, we're getting into the top three here. Let's see if it gets a little spicy. No, I don't think these are going to be spicy. I think these are the obvious choices here. And we got to have Sleepy Hollow, of course. This movie was outstanding. Oh my gosh, the 4K disc here with showing kind of the fall season with all the fall leaves, the colors of the leaves. It was popping. It was just popping. I really like that. And you talk about, the costumes and people's hair here uh, was really, really shining through with the 4K disc. I mean, oh, this movie was fantastic. It was, I think, maybe I watched it when I was younger, but probably wasn't paying attention. But really watched it all the way through this time, and it just looks so nice, so crisp, so clean. Once again, sounded great, and just really was like the perfect fall season 4K disc. And they had great editions of this one too. I'm kind of kicking myself. I didn't pick up the Fabello that came out. It was like a new kind of steelbook, had a book with it. I didn't know it was gonna have all of that in that. I should have paid that, what, $6 or $8 more to get that? That is my bad. But I mean, come on, even the slipcover just looks good by itself too. So any option you went with, you were still getting an amazing 4K disc and just just kind of, taking you to a type of period piece that really made everything shine through with the ultra high definition quality. I just really like the way this movie looks. So this is like my go-to kind of reference this for a fall season movie now. So really like Sleepy Hollow here. Very, very nice. All right, next up, top two here, of course. Got to get into Hugo. Yes, this one is from Arrow, right? I believe this is Arrow here. And Hugo, just this movie was a surprise for me. I got it on a discount. Finally found it in a Best Buy. Thank goodness. Never seen it before. But this movie just kind of had such a sense of wonder to it. But the 4K sharpness was awesome. Just like the colors pop, the environments. You get, that kind of, going through clock towers and a train going by and just almost a period of piece in itself, right? But a lot of good lights in there, and there's just so much going on the screen at one time. It's just like mind blowing. And I will say the story. The story isn't like my most favorite story of all time. Does take a little while to get going. It does come together by like the last 30-15 minutes. Then I'm like, oh, I love the story. It's all about filmmaking and the history, and oh, it's so good by the end. It does tie up nicely, but at least it always looks nice to look at. That's the way you can tell if a Martin Scorsese film. They did this 4K disc justice. I heard this was a major upgrade from the Blu-ray. This movie also sounded great. So this really was a disc that transported you into that location and that time and just the feel of the movie. And when a 4K disc can do that, it's going to pop up way high on this list. So Hugo, which is such a masterpiece to look at. That's what I can say about Hugo. It was fantastic. And then not even getting into the packaging was great. The special features in here, just once again, all around an amazing 4K package. Absolutely love that one. All right, next up, number one. You guys know my number one. I talk about this one all the time. And you talk about a lot of additions with this one. We got John Wick Chapter 4, which this movie to me was the best looking and sounding 4K disc of the year. It's like mind blowing. You talk about a room shaking with this one. For all the action going on was fantastic. And there's so many details in here too, with all the locations and costumes. And I mean, you look at the cinematography here, all the different landscapes they go to. I mean, they go to the desert, they go to, the Arch of Triumph in Paris, and all those action fighting sequences with all the cars. And oh my goodness, it is mind blowing how good you can see the details with this 4K disc. All the colors pop in here. It's just so sharp and so clean. And this movie was a great chapter 4. I really like the story here too. Keanu Reeves gives a wonderful performance, all the supporting cast as well. You had so many great different 4K editions. You really couldn't go wrong with whatever edition you got. There was even good Blu-ray editions out there, but there was just something about this 4K disc that when I think of, hey, what's the best 4K disc of the year? I didn't really have to debate this one. I knew it was going to be John Wick Chapter 4, and that's why you always see it selling on the Media Play News reports, is because everybody just loves this disc apparently, and it's going to be on that list such a long time. But absolutely had to shout out John Wick Chapter 4 for my number one spot, no doubt. But there we go. Once again, that was just my top 10 list. Yours would be completely different. If you didn't leave yours yet, leave some in the comments below. What were your favorite 4K discs of 2023? Of course, if you made it to the end of this video, if you haven't yet mega smash that like and subscribe, please do so on the way out. Jingle that notification bell so you're alerted when a new video posts. Because you guys know I'm going to keep you entertained and up to date on all this physical media goodness all year long. And then just have some fun time talking some movies below. And if you enjoy this physical media topic, mega click the next video right now. And thank you so much, my mega membership supporters.